What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live from a very foggy morning here in my corner of the world. I'm joined by the cat who's being weird. Oh, wait. Cat, weird. And I'm drinking coffee because it's cold. And it's free because it's sponsored. Don't forget to sponsor me. It's Wednesday, so it's time to take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game physical product that should be hopefully on the shelves of your friendly local game store, should you be lucky enough to have a friendly local game store in your neighborhood that actively supports role-playing. Unless you're like me, where you live within an hour drive of a dozen game stores, none of whom actively support role-playing. But I'm not bitter. Okie dokie. We've known about this one for a while. I guess it's finally out. I thought it was already out, but it is the Everyday Heroes 5e modern adventure thingy. This is Everyday Heroes, the Everyday Heroes Game Master screen, Escape from New York, and The Crow. This comes to us from Evil Genius Games, who somehow managed to grab a ton of IPs for their 5e modern campaign setting. So this is a modern day role playing. It can be normal modern day, supernatural modern day, whatever you want. It uses the 5e engine. It is written by the same people who wrote D20 Modern, which many people consider one of the best things about the OGL/early D20. And they have gotten several rights to movies, including the setting for Escape to New York, the setting for The Crow. Some of the things you think, well, these would be great campaign settings. I'd love to run a game in that world. Others, you're like, wait, like The Crow. Like, so does that mean every player character gets to be a crow? Or just one character is the crow? Or we're being hunted down by a crow? Now, if you remember the Crow TV show, it did suggest that there were other incarnations besides the crow. Anyways, it's $60 for the core rulebook, $15 for the DM screen, and the adventures are running $25 each. It seems to feel a little pricey, but whatever. D20 5e modern day role playing by the same people who wrote the original M20 modern role playing for 3. So it could be good. I mean, I liked D20 modern a lot. Never really got a chance to play it, but I liked some of the ideas in it. So this could be good. I had a chance to kickstart this, but I didn't, because it was the same time the Blade Runner Kickstarter was coming out, and I was like, yeah, I will kickstart the most anticipated game. Oh, wait, nothing came of that. But yes, good luck to these guys. From Mantic Games, it looks like we have some terrain. We've got Dungeon Adventure, Berayer the Green Range, Dungeon Adventure, Curse of the Vampire. This is a box set with unpainted and pre-assembled modules, $60 each. So it comes with an adventure, scenery pieces, figures, maps. These things are cool. I like these things. And the other one called Curse of the Vampire is an adventure. It comes with maps, pieces of scenery, rugs, figures. So you get to set up the whole terrain. You get these figures. You get these figures for like the chairs and the tables, and I guess maybe even some figures for the characters, but mostly it seems to be terrain based. So from what I'm reading here, it sounds like this is going to come with maps and stuff that you would find in his cave, but actually for figures of this guy, not so much so. And then this one looks like it's coming with figures of the building and like tables and chairs and rugs and grandfather clock and maps, but no actual figures of people. So this is just terrain, and they're running $60 each. I don't know how I feel about that. On one hand, that's really cool. It gives definitely a 3D, tangible, tactile feel to an encounter. And I do love figures, and I do love toys, and if you're in the position to purchase them and use them, more power to you, because I love them. I don't know if everybody does, but I figures, maps, module, pieces, toys, swags, miniatures. They definitely are a lot of fun to use in the game, but there's sort of that, well, I've used it once feel to it. When am I ever going to use a figure of a grandfather clock again? And $60 does feel a little pricey. From John Brazier Enterprise for Pathfinder and all D20 in general type things, we have Deadly Delves, Reigns of Ruin. This is a Pathfinder first edition adventure for $20. It's designed to change medium level characters, and it deals with a town and some lizard folk and a haunted temple and some monsters and other fun stuff. So this just looks like a adventure for the Pathfinder first edition, but it could be usable with any D20 system that is using the OGL for fantasy. $20 for a module seems to feel about right these days, and it deals with, jungle and lizard folk. So I love jungles. I love lizard folk. I love swamps. I love dinosaurs. I love pirates. I love islands, as you know. So that's could be fun. From Exalted Funeral, we have Primal Belief and the Cave of Our People. This is for Primal Quest Essentials. What is that? I don't know. Oh, I think that's caveman role-playing. Isn't that? Caveman role-playing was become a thing recently. Weird Stone and Sorcery Adventures. So yes, the weird fantasy stone and sorcery of the mythical world of dinosaurs, cavemen, and magic. Land of the Lost. Stone and sorcery is a genre that sort of appears, and people are like, oh, this is so cool, cavemen with magic, and then it disappears, sometimes for years at an end, and then it bubbles up to the surface again, and people are like, oh, this is so cool, dinosaurs and lightning bolts, and then it sort of disappears, and then it looks like it's bubbled to the surface again, because I've seen at least 4 of these that I can think of that have been mentioned for, people wanting to play these. So if you have an interest in dinosaur, cavemen, Land of the Lost style role-playing, this could be your bag. And they're running pretty cheap, only about $10 each. So yeah. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. G.I. Joe is there. Okay, for fans of the Wizards of the Coast titles that are being handled by Renegade, we have some G.I. Joe stuff as a My Little Pony stuff. That's right. So for the G.I. Joe adventure game from Renegade Studios, we've got G.I. Joe themed dice, specifically Cobra themed dice. Whenever you roll them, you hear the Cobra commander going, Cobra! Well, I mean, you don't, but it would be great if you did. In a natural 20. And if you roll a 1, you hear a Yo Joe! But yeah, you don't. But yeah. And $15. $15 for a dice set. Theme normally is cheap, but you're only getting 1 of each. So I don't know. Then we have a My Little Pony character journal. My Little Pony Adventure is Magic. It is character sheets, writing hooks, and stuff you might use for the My Little Pony role-playing game. So I guess it's official. Renegade is doing the My Little Pony role-playing game. That means they now have the rights to Power Rangers, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony. All they need is Peppa, and they will have the trifecta, the 4 pillars of Hasbro's moneymakers that aren't D&D. From WizKids, we have some dungeon dressings, hidden hazards, and devilish dervish delights. So traps, figures for traps. We got some trap treasure chests. We got some trap pits, scythe blades. If you ever wanted figures for traps, you make this and you buy these and you throw them down and you go, ha, that was trapped. Because, yeah, these are running about $50. That better be a box of them, not just 1 each. So box 1, it comes with these things. Is rolling ball of death, pits, traps, saw blade in the floor, all sorts of grindy, choppy fun. And box number 2 comes with these chests and this fire-breathing statue and all sorts of trappy fun. And they're $50 each. From Miniature Market, we have Rune Stone. This looks oddly familiar. I mean, other than the obvious, this looks like the thing from Hellraiser. This looks like the Eidolon from Magic the Gathering. When they did that Magic the Gathering set, and there was this huge, giant diamond Eidolon thing, and it would hang in the gaming stores from the ceiling. Yeah. And I feel like I've seen this somewhere else. I mean, yeah, it's a very common design. So for $1.50, you get this unpainted, assembly might be required, resin miniature of a mysterious, spooky ruin that you can then paint up any way you like. And if your player characters ever run into a spooky ruin, you can throw this down for them. And it's only $1.50. For the price, that's probably the best gaming deal you're going to see this week. So, yeah. My recommendations this week. I wanna be excited about this. I do, but I don't know. And caveman role playing, again, I feel like it's a genre that should have legs, but it never really gets anywhere. It's one of those. Wouldn't it be cool? So yeah, nothing really jumps out at me. Let's see if there's anything else we might have missed. We have some announcements of games coming up in the future that we need to go over, but nothing presently available this week. We have this coming out, which I have talked about, the To Save a Kingdom adventure path from EM Publishing. Looks like the hardcover is available to some people for review. So if you wanted to kickstart it, this is what it would look like. Modifius has announced a new role-playing game setting. That's cool. A mall in broke the D&D world's record. A couple other things coming out. We've got one for Soulbound, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Soulbound Champions of Destruction. This is the orcs and other monstrous species for the world of Warhammer Fantasy, specifically the Warhammer Soulbound fantasy setting. Now we have all the rules to play orcs and trolls and squigs and snotlings and all those other fun races. This is out, of course, the Dragonbane thing. The quick starter is available in both English and Swedish, as well as the SRD open content rules they have written specifically for Dragonbane, because Free League wants people to be able to write stuff specifically for Dragonbane, but also write stuff using Year Zero. And I guess the systems are different enough that they require two separate open game license, whatever you things you call them, ORCs or OGLs or OSRs or whatever. And that seems to be it. If any of these products sound like something you want to purchase, head on over to your friendly local game store and see if they haven't been stocked. But call ahead first and have them put it on hold for you, because just because I say it's out there doesn't mean it's actually out there. It just means it exists somewhere in the nebulous Schrodinger's cat of retail, which is, well, it exists or it doesn't exist. It might or might not be in the back room. It may or may not have shipped. So you want to see anything on there in your little pockets, then call ahead. So that's it for today. If you appreciate this contest, please take a moment to subscribe. Help me hit 2,000 subs by the end of the year. And of course, now I have to give this new little warning. I assure you that should you choose to purchase any of the product I have placed on Big Geek Emporium for $2 a piece, there's currently 11 Minions on a Mission issues, including issue 11 that I just published a couple days ago, which features 10 plus pages of brand new equipment for your fantasy campaign of choice, and 3 adventures set in the world of Dungeon 23, all available on Big Geek Emporium for under $2 or $2. Check out the link down below, purchase my merch, and I assure you, if you do purchase my merch, and if you do a review of my merch on YouTube, please, I won't send the Pinkerton detectives against you. So feel free to go to Big Geek Emporium, link down below, buy my merch, please, review it, please, and do this with no fear that I will send Pinkerton detectives to your house. Because unlike Wizards of the Coast, I'm an adult. That's it for today. Let me know what you're thinking, how you doing today, what you're feeling. Please, stay safe, and I will talk to you all later. Get off my land.